Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 6, text, what was it? 20. Arayopi sandeha sati karyartha gaurave ahimushikavad deva hiyarthasya padavim gate. Arayopi sandeha sati karyartha gaurave ahimushikavad deva hiyarthasya padavim gate. Areopi sandeha sati karyartha gaurave ahimushikavad deva hi arthasya padavim gate. Areopi sandeha sati karyartha gaurave ahimushikavad deva hi arthasya padavim gate. Arayopi sandeha satikaryartha gaurave yashikavad deva hiyarthasya padavim gate. Arayopi sandeha satikaryartha gaurave himushikavad deva hiyarthasya padavim gate. Araya oh sorry Aryopi sandeha satikaryartha gaurave ahimushikavad deva hi arthasya padavim gate. Arayaha enemies. Api although. He indeed. Sandeha eligible for a truce. Sati being so. Karya artha gaurave in the matter of an important duty. Ahi snake. Mushika mouse. Vat like. Devaha O demigods. He indeed. Arthasya of interest. Padavim position. Gate so being. Translation. O demigods, fulfilling one's own interest is so important that one may even have to make a truce with one's enemies. For the sake of one's self-interest, one has to act according to the logic of the snake and the mouse. Please repeat. O demigods, fulfilling one's own interest is so important that one may even have to make a truce with one's enemies. For the sake of one's self-interest, one has to act according to the logic of the snake and the mouse. Prabhupada Prabhupada Ki Jai. A snake and a mouse were once caught in a basket. Now, since the mouse is food for the snake, this was a good opportunity for the snake. However, since both of them are caught in the basket, even if the snake ate the mouse, the snake would not be able to get out. Therefore the snake thought it wise to make a truce with the mouse and asked the mouse to make a hole in the basket so that both of them could get out. The snake's intention was that after the mouse made the hole, the snake would eat the mouse and escape from the basket through the hole. This is called the logic of the snake and the mouse. Om Jnanatamidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitanjana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. O demigods, fulfilling one's own interest is so important that one may even have to make a truce with one's enemies. For the sake of one's self-interest, one has to act according to the logic of the snake and the mouse. So, so the demigods have prayed to Lord Vishnu, and the Lord has appeared before them in his beautiful form. And after glorifying the Lord, then the Lord decides that he wants to come and enjoy a pastime in churning the ocean. Although it says that he was capable of performing the activities of the demigods by himself, but he wanted to enjoy pastimes in churning the ocean, and therefore he asked Brahma and the demigods to arrange a truce with the demons, because the demigods were not flourishing and the demons were flourishing. So the Lord asked them to make a truce with the demons, so that because they were not being favored by time or by the situation. So the Lord decided that he wanted a pastime to enact. So this example of the snake and the mouse is given by the Lord. So to fulfill their self-interest, they had to make a truce with the demons, and so that they could churn the ocean and get the pot of nectar. So they needed the help of the demons to get that, because they needed so many people to do that. And in order to do that, the demons had to agree with the demigods, so there had to be a truce. So they stopped fighting for a while anyway, at least. And so the churning of the ocean would bring up the pot of nectar, and the demons wouldn't get that nectar. Although they want it, the Lord would arrange it that the demigods would get that nectar and get a long life from taking that nectar. So this example of the snake and the mouse is very appropriate, because as we see that the snake is caught in a trap with a mouse, so it's using its intelligence. It's thinking, well, if I eat the mouse, I'm still going to be caught in the basket. I'm still going to be stuck. So if I get the mouse to make a hole through the basket, and then I can get out and also eat the mouse at the same time. So it's actually quite intelligent. So in this case, the Lord is asking the demigods to become like the snake and use their intelligence and help them to get out of this situation by making a truce with the demons. And I found an interesting lecture by Srila Prabhupada. I just wanted to quote what he says, because it's quite funny, because they're actually, Prabhupada's laughing when he says it. So he says, this is a lecture in Geneva. He says, sometimes they put this argument that if everyone becomes Krishna conscious, who will look after this business, that business? That will be looked after, don't bother. The Sudra class, they will take care. The Brahmana class, they will take advantage. And the Shudra class, they will work hard. Just like we are taking advantage of this microphone for Krishna. But we are not going to manufacture this. This is not our business. Let the Shudras do it. Shudras will be there, they will do it. This is called ajagra vritti. Ajagra vritti means that the mouse, they make a hole in the field for his living comfortably. You have seen the holes in the field, and the ajagra, the big snake, they take advantage of these holes. They enter into it and eat the mouse and live comfortably. So the mouse makes the comfortable place for the snake. The snake's business is to enter and live comfortably. So our business is like that. You Shudras, you make all the advantages, and we take simply go there, and they all laugh. That's all. That is our business. You construct house, nice house, and we enter. That's all. That George Harrison paid for that house. We enter. That's all. We do not care for this 55 lakhs, how to earn. No, that is Krishna's policy. Let the less intelligent class of men work hard, and the higher intelligent class of men take advantage of it. That's all. So Prabhupada's laughing because he's saying, the devotees, they don't have to go into all the work hard and make all these microphones and all these gadgets. Let all the Shudras do that, and we just take advantage of it. And actually, we can use it against them in one sense. Like, we're publishing all these books and telling everyone that this is a really bad thing. The whole world's in such a mess because of technology and all these things, because people are going away from God. So we can actually use the microphone, the printing press, the phones and computers, and preach against modern civilization. We're using their technology, but we're actually preaching against what they're, doing. So this is like the snake and the mouse analogy. We can be like the snake and just, we're using everything that they're creating. All the Shudras, Prabhupada said, let the Shudras work hard and create all these things, cars and aeroplanes and everything, and we can use them in Krishna's service. And that's what we're doing. So it's very interesting how Prabhupada can use these analogies in such a befitting way, and exactly what the Lord is telling the demigods to do as well, that you just make a truce with the demons, and we can take advantage of that and get nectar out the ocean, and then you can get all the benefit from it, and the demons will lose. So this is Prabhupada's way of, understanding how we can use the modern technology. And yeah, that's right. So in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a nice and interesting point Prabhupada makes in the 10th chapter, verse 2. And he's, because, the demigods, they're all there with Lord Vishnu, but they don't really understand the Lord's plan. And Prabhupada says in this verse, neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and the sages. And in the purport, Prabhupada is saying a very nice thing. He says, no one can understand why the Supreme God comes to earth as an ordinary human being and executes such wonderful, uncommon activities. One should know that the scholarship is not the qualification necessary to understand Krishna. Even the demigods and the great sages have tried to understand Krishna by their mental speculation, and they have failed to do so. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also it is clearly said that even the great demigods are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can speculate to the limits of their imperfect senses and can reach the opposite conclusion of impersonalism, of something not manifested by the three qualities of material nature. Or they can imagine something by mental speculation, but it's not possible to understand Krishna by such foolish speculation. And Prabhupada saying that even the demigods and great sages cannot understand Krishna. They can understand neither his name nor his personality. So what is the position of the so-called scholars of this tiny planet? So even the demigods are so powerful. They're, in charge of planets. They're in charge of the rain. They're capable of doing so many amazing things. And they still can't understand Krishna, why he does what he does. And the great sages, they're so absorbed in trying to understand God and his power, and they still can't understand him. So what chance do the tiny scholars of this tiny planet, have a chance to understand? So they can speculate and they can try to understand, but they cannot by the mental speculations. And Prabhupada further says that The devotees of the Lord do not bother about the impersonal Brahman conception of God. Their faith and devotion bring them to surrender immediately unto the Supreme Lord. And out of the causeless mercy of Krishna, they can understand Krishna. No one else can understand him. So even great sages agree, what is Atma, what is the Supreme? It is he whom we have to worship. So no matter how great one may be, if we don't get the causeless mercy of Krishna, if we don't surrender and devotion and faith, then we can't understand Krishna. That's the three qualifications Prabhupada says, is that there needs to be faith, and there needs to be devotion, and there needs to be surrender. And then, by the causeless mercy of Krishna, then we can actually understand him. We can't understand him through our own logic, our own mental speculation, whatever we have. But when we start serving Krishna, and as Krishna, that verse, Atashi Krishna Namadi, Na Bhavagram Indriya, Sevam Hivamiki Jivado, Eva Maspuratada. So this verse is so important, because we can't understand Krishna with our blunt material senses. It's not possible. But when we engage our senses, especially the tongue, in the service of the Lord, then Krishna reveals himself. This is this verse. So this is showing that we can't understand Krishna through our blunt material senses. It's not possible. We have to purify our senses. And the way we do it is by chanting Krishna's names and taking prasadam. It starts with the tongue, Prabhupada says. So the tongue has two business. Its business is to taste and to articulate sound. So Prabhupada says that by chanting the holy names and by taking Krishna prasad, then we get Krishna's mercy. Then Krishna reveals himself to us through that process. So this is actually the process that's described in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavatam. By chanting and hearing about Krishna, then we can gain the causeless mercy of Krishna, and then can understand him. But Krishna is covered by his Yogamaya potency. He doesn't reveal himself to everyone and anyone. So he himself says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that I'm not manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I'm covered by my potency, Yogamaya, curtain of Yogamaya. And so the world does not know me, who am unborn and infallible. So Krishna has got the right to reveal himself or not to reveal himself. He's independent. It's not that we have whatever we do is going to force him to, open the curtain and show himself. So, but definitely, if we're not following the process, if we're not surrendering to Krishna, we don't have faith and we don't have devotion, then we've got very little chance of understanding Krishna, and very little chance that Krishna is going to reveal himself. So we need to have faith, devotion, and surrender. So surrender is, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes the process of Sharanagati, surrender. And he says there's 6 categories of surrender, 6 ways of surrender. Can anyone remember what the 6 ways of surrender are? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, those 6 processes. By Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Yes, yeah. So accept what's favorable and reject what's unfavorable. Accept Krishna as one's protector. Accept Krishna as our maintainer. And be humble and surrender. No, there's one more. No, there's one more. Let me just find my phone. I had it written down, but I've forgotten.
Always depending on the Lord, always being myself. Always confident with the Lord's protection.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting Krishna as one maintainer.
Yeah, and protector.
Also
Yeah, humility. Atmanivedanam is like a surrender, isn't it? That's what I was saying.
So you were on full stature.
Okay, so 6 waves of surrender through Sharnagati are Dainya, humility. 2 is Atmanivedanam, dedication of the self, which is like a surrender, isn't it? 3, Goptara Varna, acceptance of the Lord as one's only maintainer. And 4, the consciousness of Avashya Rakshibe Krishna, you Krishna will surely protect me, which is like strong faith in Krishna. And Bhakta Anukul Matra Karyera Svikar, execution of only those acts favorable to pure devotion. And 6, Bhakti Pratikul Bhava Varjanangakar, renunciation of conduct averse to pure devotion. So accepting things that are favorable to pure devotion and rejecting things which are unfavorable for pure devotion, accepting the Lord as one's only maintainer, and accepting that Krishna will surely protect me, and Atma Nivedanam, which is dedication of the self, and humility. So these are the 6 principles of surrender that's explained here by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So these are what's necessary if we want to get Krishna's complete protection and come to the point of pure devotion. Then these are the principles we have to follow in order to do that. And also it's this faith is so important because Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that those who do not follow this, do not have faith in the process of devotional service, they fall away and they cannot attain pure devotional service. So faith is so important. Shraddha. Do you remember that verse that Krishna says? When he says, those who do not follow this fall down. For the doubtful soul is neither. But there's another verse like that. I just read it the other day. For those who, yeah. Faith. Let me just check. Faith. 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 Yeah.
So we see with sometimes devotees are humble because they find that they're quite incompetent at certain things. So that's easy to be humble when you realize you're useless at certain things. But how do you remain humble when you're very competent at doing certain things?
And you see that it's not your ability, is not coming from yourself, it's coming from Krishna. And you're empowered by Krishna to do that. Just like Arjuna in the first canto, he after Krishna's left and Arjuna comes back to Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he's really lamenting because Krishna's left the planet now. And he's saying that, I have the same Gandiva bow, I have the same, armor, I'm still the same person, but I couldn't even rescue the queens from these cowherd boys, these cowherd men that came.
We just had that in the Prabhupada lecture on Tuesday.
Yeah, so that empowerment, Arjuna realizes that on the battlefield he had to face so many great generals and warriors.
So in that pastime, Krishna made that arrangement. So is that what happens if you become proficient at something and you become proud? Does Krishna make the arrangement so that you lose your ability to become humble again?
He can do. Just so that you get the realization that you're not the one who has that ability. It's given to you by Krishna.
Like on Sankirtan, sometimes you do really well and you get a bit cocky.
Yeah, because sometimes we think we can do certain things because we've got a certain karma for it. And we think that it's easy. But that, it's Krishna's given us that ability still to do it. He can easily take away that good karma, and then so that we can become humble and realize we're not actually the one who's doing it. We're not the doers.
Sometimes on Sankirtan, you say just the right thing at just the right time, and sometimes you just keep saying the wrong thing at the wrong time.
So so the devotee, actually Sanatana Goswami describes what is humility as somebody who has all good qualities, but still he doesn't think he is so great. If somebody doesn't have any good qualities, then it's easy to be humble because we don't really have anything to be proud of. But if somebody has all good qualities and still remains humble, then that's actually humility, isn't it? So, see.
Question of being purified,
Well, that's all. Yeah, the process is purification and developing humility. And real humility is seeing that Krishna is the one who's actually in control, and we're just insignificant. We're just like little puppets. It's
interesting that Srila Bhagavatam was very humble, but then when he was being criticized, he was also a very strong one, defending his position. So why was that?
Sorry.
We see that Srila Bhagavatam was very humble. But when he was getting criticized for doing certain things by his godbrothers, he was very, very strong in chastising them. So if he was humble, shouldn't he have just accepted it?
Well, Prabhupada was being humble because he's aligning everything with Krishna. He's and the Shastra, because so many things that Prabhupada did was according to the Guru, Shastra and Sadhu. It wasn't just whimsical. And some people may not have understood that. And even Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur got so much, problems with people in India that he was preaching according to the Shastra that he could bring, give the Brahmin initiation to people that were not Brahmanas already, we can actually elevate people from the Shudra class to Brahminical class, but not so many of them would accept that. So when preaching, we have to preach according to what Krishna wants. So that's humility. It's not like being meek and humble and just accepting defeat. We have to preach what Krishna says.
Yeah, toward the end, Srila Prabhupada apologized to his godbrothers for being so strong, and they were saying, no, you had to do it because you needed to protect the society. So they appreciated why he did it, although at the same time he was very humble. He was prepared to even sacrifice his humility to protect the devotees.
Well, he was being humble because he was acting according to Krishna's direction. Like Arjuna, he didn't want to fight. He was thinking that's being humble, but actually he's following Krishna's direction. That's humility. So Krishna wanted him to fight. So humility means to follow what Krishna wants. That's what it really means, is to follow his directions. So it may not look humble, like Arjuna was looking humble to the moralists that he didn't want to fight. But that's not humility. It's following what Krishna wants, that's humility. So it may look to the materialists and moralists, it may look like this, that Prabhupada was not being humble, but actually he is being humble because he's preaching absolute truth. He's preaching what Krishna wants. So he can become a lion, a lion in the chase and a lamb at home. So it's the same kind of thing.
In the fold.
In the fold. So
A lamb in the fold.
So
lion in the chase when you're out, and when you come back, a lamb in the fold.
So
But you see devotees go out and they're like a lamb in the fold, and they come back to like a lion in the chase.
So in order to preach, we need to become like a lion, which means that we have to be somewhat like preach against so many things that people are doing. But that doesn't mean we're not humble. We're following what Krishna wants. We're preaching against all the nonsense. Is that okay? Venus has a question.
I found oftentimes I struggle with this on the street. I can kind of decide, should I be just very like straightforward, strict, or just kind of like go along with whatever they say and try to give them a book,
Yeah, sometimes you have to kind of listen to the nonsense and just try to, because not everybody can take the axe, So we have to be very gentle and give them like sugar candy coated medicine. So you can be nice to them and just try to trick them into taking a book or something, because they're not going to accept maybe what we say. So there's not really. So we have to like speak the truth, but in a palatable way that people can actually accept it. That's what it says in the Bhagavad. Krishna says that austerity of speech, right, is to speak what is truthful and palatable. So both have to be there. We don't just speak the truth and break somebody. We can speak the truth in a palatable way that we can accept it. Where is that? Austerity of speech. Which chapter is that? Austerity of speech.
17.
Just find it. Austerity of speech.
It's also humble if you approach somebody and then if they don't want to take a book there and then, or give something there and then, leave them a leaflet. There's no problem. You time have a sign and use them very nice, in a way where you're not doubting that they want to help. Of course, you can use it to make them feel and then it makes you feel okay, so your energy, you feel happy, and not the next person.
Well, we're supposed to leave everyone favourable in devotional service, so that to keep them favourable, we have to be kind of kind to them. So this is what Krishna says. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic literature. So that can be quite difficult, because you have to speak words that consists of speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others. So you have to combine it all when you're preaching to people.
What's that verse?
That's 17:15 Bhagavad Gita.
So I was just listening to Vaisheshika Prabhu with a short clip, and he was saying that before we speak, we should think about if it's truthful, if it's beneficial, and if it's not offensive. I think this the same words probably.
Yeah. So
that's what's 90% of the principle.
So let's see what purpose is in the purport. One does not speak in such a way as to agitate the minds of others. Of course, when a teacher speaks, he can speak the truth for the instruction of his students, but such a teacher should not speak to those who are not his students if he will agitate their minds. This is penance as far as talking is concerned. Besides that, one should not talk nonsense. The process of speaking in spiritual circles is to say something upheld by the scriptures. One should at once quote from scriptural authority to back up what he is saying. At the same time, such talk should be very pleasurable to the ear. By such discussions, one may derive the highest benefit and elevate human society. There is a limitless stock of Vedic literature, and one should study this. This is called penance of speech. So austerity of speech is this. This is what Krishna is saying. And Prabhupada is saying how we should, if somebody is not our student, then we shouldn't speak to those if it will agitate their minds. And but we can speak the truth in such a way that they can accept it. You know, we can say things in a certain way and accept. You know, there's so many times I met born again Christians and they're like, you know, Jesus is the only way. So I just said, oh, that's very nice to meet such nice Christians. It's very nice. I've not met such nice Christians as you, and flatter them. And then I asked them to pray for me. And they said, oh, yeah, we'll definitely pray for you. What's your name? I said, Nitai. So I said, oh, I'll pray for you, Nitai. And it's like, so they're doing they're becoming favorable. They're not being agitated by the whole thing. So you have to trick people into accepting and do some service, because by preaching to them, you're not going to change them. In fact, you might break their faith. So you just let them have their faith and also help them to make some sort of become favorable to the devotees in some way. So it's not necessary that you have to be harsh with people.
Yeah, the book's going to be teaching. You just got to engage them and have them take the book favorably. But the written word is a much easier way to be told something rather than someone telling you.
Yeah.
A child or an old person, they can get away with it. But generally, people don't want to be put in their place or judged or told something.
Yeah.
So we interact on that level. And then when they get around the corner and open the book, then that's when the bomb goes off. But we're not trying to detonate the bomb. We just want them to take the bomb back and then let it explode later on in the privacy of their own homes.
Any other comments or questions?
Oh, yeah, there was at the beginning of the class, you were mentioning about how can we use this different technology in devotional service. I was thinking just also we have to be kind of careful. We have to use it in Christian service, but not also get attached. Thinking to the I'm starting to enjoy this facility that we have, but try to see it. This is just for the service, and if the time comes to have to give it up, then it should be given up or something.
Yeah, because we have to stay detached from it all, because it's we can use it all in Krishna's service, but then if we become attached to all the other things, distractions that it can bring about, because the phone is a very distracting thing, and we can get onto other things that are not necessarily Krishna conscious. So it's like it has its uses, but also has its bad uses as well, and it can distract us from like the main things. It's creating so much noise, for us. We're not actually able to think, and that's the problem with technology nowadays. The new generation, they're not able to actually focus on learning anything at school because they're so distracted by phones and screens that they can't actually read properly or even write properly now. They're actually becoming really, really bad. The teachers don't even want to teach anymore because they're really can't get them to focus on even anything.
It's interesting because like studies have been done. The government is actually wanting to ban these items for people under a particular age and have them completely away from schools, because they recognise that the damage is not just to the children but for the whole society in time is like it's going to destroy civilization. But they probably have been a bit optimistic to think that they can put the cat back in the bag.
So this is Vaisheshika Prabhu. He says that whenever you approach the screen, first of all, clarify what is your intention. Why have you gone to the screen in the first place? And if you just go to the screen of your phone or tablet, and you haven't already worked out why you're going to go there, then he says you'll just end up falling down the rabbit hole, and you'll find that you're just looking at nothing for hours and hours, and then just hopping from one thing to the next. So before you approach the screen, you clarify with yourself, okay, what's the intention? What have I? And sometimes what happens is you go to the screen of your phone with an intention, and then you get distracted, and then you can't remember what it was that you went to the phone for in the first place. Jai, Shishikona time, Shashiki Jai.
Yes, so
that's the danger.
the danger is we get very much distracted by unnecessary things. What was that? Yeah, so we have to be careful because Maya's, can get us to do the wrong things with technology that we were supposed to do something good with it. It can end up distracting us from our Krishna consciousness.
They work out what it is that the person likes to look at, and then they try and their whole thing is how they can keep the person glued to the screen for as long as possible, because then they can slip in all kinds of subtle advertising and other things, So while you're looking at it, somebody's on the other side figuring out how they can get your mind stuck on things that you've shown an interest in,
Yeah. So this is the demonic mentality. By all these things that they're just trying to create an illusion, even greater illusion. We're already in an illusion anyway, and they're creating a bigger illusion on top of it. And people are just becoming more and more in this like illusory world. They're living in this illusory world, and they've lost any idea to critically think about what is the purpose of life, because they're just constantly scrolling and just forgetting about what the purpose of life is.
In that book, Chatmo by Sri Ram it says, Apanasamsitam Goran, Yannama Vivishogrinam. Even one who chants the holy name of Krishna unconsciously cuts out through the labyrinth of material existence. So it's interesting that the web, the net that people get caught up in, it's like a labyrinth. And he says that unconsciously chanting the holy name means that you're chanting it without faith. You don't really know the potency of it. So if you can chant the holy name with faith, you can imagine what that's going to do. If you can even chop yourself out of the labyrinth by chanting without really any knowledge, That's how you increase your potency in chanting, by chanting with more knowledge and more faith.
And that comes through practice and association of devotees. Otherwise we'll lose faith, we'll lose our faith and knowledge will come from associating with those who have lots of faith and knowledge. And by associating with them, then we will also become strong in our faith. So by associating with Srila Prabhupada through his books, through his lectures, through devotees who have practiced for years and have strong faith, then we get strong faith by association.
And what may happen as well, if we go to the Vana, the devotees may see the Kuruna Bhavan devotees and think, wow, they've got so much They're so fired up those guys, they may want to come to Scotland.
Well, let's see. Okay.
Because when I was at one of the Scottish Awards came up, at that time I was out in 85, 86, and they were all like the top book distributors in the UK. And they were like glowing, you know, we were all in reverence because we heard all their scores, we were just amazed how they were doing it. And that's actually what happened. A few of them came up to Scotland after that, including me.
I noticed something similar about the Welsh Yatra. They have like good energy out there, and like a lot of brahmacharis, young people. And then when they come also, like everyone comes together, you can feel it, like, you know.
When they did the kirtan.
Yeah, it's like, wow. Yeah.
So
So, that's nice.
Yeah, wherever there's preaching, there's life. So when temples are preaching really vigorously, then there's a different energy. And I remember before in Kurunabhavan, the whole temple was basically Sankirtan. There was very few devotees staying back to do other things. And the energy, when all the devotees would come back from traveling Sankirtan, you know, it was just amazing because it was like this Sankirtan energy, and everyone was like glowing and full of like enthusiasm, and you know, it was such a different energy. So because if we're preaching, then we'll develop this strong faith, and also we'll become enthusiastic to give this to others. And that's what brings us to like a different level of Krishna consciousness. If everyone's just thinking about themselves and their troubles and their problems, then there's not any life in the temple. Okay, one last question if there is any. Yes.
Well, see, if you're attracted to being a Sankirtan devotee for whatever reason, does that then excuse you from coming to morning program and things like that? Can you kind of like, you know, make your own sort of routine, or should people sort of try to stick to certain standards?
Well, we do what's favourable for our Krishna consciousness, and that's sadhana bhakti, isn't it? So to be able to preach properly, we'll need to have good sadhana, and strong sadhana helps us to, you know, be able to cope with any problems in life. You know, it's not just for the Sankirtan, it's just for our well-being, our spiritual well-being.
The real result of book distribution isn't how many books you do and how much Lakshmi you collect. The real result of book distribution is how much you're relishing the morning program. They feed into each other. So if you're doing your Sankirtan nicely, then you'll be very keen to go to Mangalarti, Bhagavatam class, Kirtan, because you've been purified from doing the book distribution.
You know, unless someone's got really bad health and they can't manage, you know, then they should be coming to the morning program, unless they have other services.
It's all part of Sri Ramanuja was saying that book distribution is just part of the sadhana. And he said, if you don't like doing book distribution, you're in the wrong movement. And he says, you'll only ever really understand what ISKCON is about when you go and distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. And somebody was saying, oh, I'm offended by that. And he goes, well, I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Yeah, so if we've got good sadhana, then we can help others. But if our sadhana is very weak, then if we're drowning, we're not going to be able to save others that are drowning. So we have to save ourselves first. And the sadhana is like me time. So we've got 4 hours in the morning that's getting ourselves ready for combating out there in the material energy on Sankirtan. So we need that 4 hours of like sadhana to strengthen ourselves so that we can face challenges.
First thing in the morning for an hour and then do the morning program.
Is that okay?
Just the last thing is like, I was watching this old video in 1979. There was these spring books in the Chicago airport. It was Tripurari Swami and Pragosh, I think. Pragosh. And they were saying, the devotees asking new lines for Sankirtan. But then you're saying that you don't really need new age. You have to come with that love for Prabhupada, love for Krishna, and try to share it. And it was just kind of nice comment, because it's like when you have that love for Prabhupada, when you want to please Prabhupada, then naturally, Krishna sends these people. And you can also share that love. So yeah.
Yeah, so if we really want to please Srila Prabhupada, then things will happen. Krishna wants to please his pure devotee as well, so he'll empower us to please Prabhupada. So that's the main motive is, if we're trying to please Srila Prabhupada, then we will get the empowerment. Krishna can help us to distribute lots of books and to meet so many people and bring them to Krishna consciousness. So.
That's why he designed the Mohan Prabhupada for us to be there for it.
Yeah. So that's like the pillars of our strength, isn't it? Chanting the holy names, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, dancing, chanting in front of the deities, and circumambulating Tulsi Devi. It's all part of the strength that's going to help us. It's 5 potent parts of devotional service. And the 5 most potent, right? So hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting the holy names of the Lord, residing in a holy place, associating with devotees, and deity worship. These are the 5 most potent forms of devotional service. So it's all contained within the morning program. So why not take advantage of it? Prabhupada gave us that to help us. He knew that otherwise we would just do our own thing, right? Because he knew what the mentality is like, just do whatever you want. So Prabhupada introduced this so that systematically we're doing this every morning, so that it really helps us, strengthens our Krishna consciousness really fast. So Prabhupada is really amazing. He's so thinking ahead for the future of generations to come, for the movement. Okay, thank you for the discussion. And Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Iskon Guruvinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Bol.